And we're back, and this is Nerding Out. This is where myself and Beatmaster will talk about the things that we've watched, listened to, that we've been nerding out over the past week. And Beat, I'm gonna let you go first because mine we'll go chronologically here. How about that? So yours came out
Yeah.
before
You have
mine,
the
so
better
you get to go
seen the better
first.
movie. It's okay. We can say that openly. No,
This is on my list. I do want to go see Star Trek Beyond, mainly because I want to be like, oh yeah, that was a really good scene. Because at Target they play the fucking commercial all the time, and it's like, yes,
yeah,
I want to get the Target exclusive box that has the there, so I could feel like, all right, I'm gonna put in Captain Kirk, I'm gonna put in Anton Yelchin because he is no longer with us and stuff, and just stuff like that. It's like, I get it. I want the movie. Shut up.
so that people know. I worked in retail as well, so we know each other's pains very well, and we have a full wall of TVs, including several speakers, on with always the same trailers repeating on a loop for 8 to 10 hours. You go crazy. But the other part, it's about
I
Star
would, to
Trek.
be honest though, I would take yours because yours at least is in a different language. And it's like, I'd have that joyful
Nope.
bliss of not knowing what a fucking word was that was said there.
Nope. Muting
Still
that
have
shit.
James Corden, and then I'd be like, hey, James Corden, because I recognize a laugh.
Well, something like that. But yes, I had to hate to tell things from other movies, but the first Star Trek that reboot that J.J. Abrams made was okay movie. It showed a possibility that you can refresh the material and get excited again about Star Trek, and I had little to no issues really with it, and it was entertaining. But the second one is the one I despise. It is wrong on so many levels that it would take an hour to talk about it. But the main thing is that they forgot what the characters and some of the messages are about. And of course, every Star Trek movie was like that, different. There were two exceptions: the motion picture, first one that I can compare to 2001. It's like will you on and say, "Oh, that's a bore. It should be more action and everything." And Insurrection was the other Star Trek movie from the Next Generation crew that had the appeal of an episode done in the full length, feature length. And so these are the two only Star Trek movies out of all that were really in the spirit of Gene Roddenberry. So I'm
That
not
they
hating.
were or were not.
They they weren't. He was not a guy that made a religion and said everything has to be like that, or isn't like my imagination. No, just saying that the movies departed from the TV shows, and that's from with the core crew, the Picard crew. It was always the case. So I can see the appeal for newcomers that Star Trek delivered with J.J. Abrams' version, but is it was the fear that we would only have that and nothing else because there was no TV show coming back then.
Yeah.
And with the second movie, it was like seeing Spock punching a guy out of rage and other things that were so not in what we were expecting from the Star Trek, that they had the fear that that's all we get, a regurgitated thing that has just visuals and lens flares that you can see any scenes. And so said it was that for me. Then Star Trek Beyond came up and they said Justin Lin is going to direct it. I was like, fuck no. I saw the trailer. Saw a motorbike Kirk riding motorbike through the scenes and was thinking, is this Expendables 3 or is that Star Trek? And then we heard Beastie Boys again. It was Fox.
Yeah.
Why? And then I didn't had any expectations of the movie. Didn't plan to see it, and then went in like an off day, and there was almost no people inside, so we had the whole area to myself. And there were moments in this movie, can't spoil that much, that I was really standing up and fist pumping, saying that's what I want to see from the things. And all the things that in the trailer made me think that will be a shit show beginning to end, it turned around all the expectations. Thankfully, Sam Peck was really aware what was wrong with the previous ones. Couldn't say it openly. He always defended it, but he conceded that there were things that could be optimized. He's a nice guy. He won't go against the stream and say bad things about other people. So I respect him just for that alone. But he did a good job there with the script, and it felt like something you can build up to. The other things weren't like that. They were like standalone Star Wars preview shows. But this movie had the story that you wanted to follow through, not just get from one point to the other. You had the evolution of characters. You had much more scenes with the Bones that were priceless. And in itself, the elements that they brought in to freshen it up were fully serving the story, including the using sabotage from the Beastie Boys. They put it in the movie in a way that it was logical, that made sense, and it was they were like, okay, I'm ready to accept that shit. I love Beastie Boys, but well, the anachronism was well explained, and even a small note that he said a good pick because somebody else picked it as a song to combat the enemies, and he in the first movie, as a child when he was running away in a car, was listening to that same song. So it went full circle with the first one, and then I can still get along with Into Darkness. It doesn't change the opinion on that, but when you see it as let's go from here on out, then you get a better experience, in my opinion, than threading through Into Darkness, because it doesn't really matter in the context.
Yeah. So I will say that I do like to hear that or not Into Darkness, that Star Trek Beyond does have, because that's the fucking trailer that they play in Target all the time. It does show off that in Bones, and it is done to the Beastie Boys, and it's like, and I'm glad to hear that it makes sense. Aspect that I didn't like with Suicide Squad, threw in Spirit in the Sky just because they were in fucking helicopters. And I'm like, no. It made sense in Guardians of the Galaxy.
That are the sensibilities of the trailer park guys. Yeah, that's not.
You're stretching here to put. Oh, they're in choppers now. Let's put in something that talks about the sky. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? No, that's too cheery. What about? Okay, let's do that one. Sort of deal. I have no idea what the fuck that voice was, but I kept it. I'm doing it.
They should have magic carpet ride, but yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
Just the only thing that made me sad that they had Idris Elba, such a actor in our days, maybe one of the finest we have, and then he was not written poorly, but there wasn't much to there. It had a little bit thing of the Marvel villains, but even then they explained his reasoning from a dumb brute to why he became what he is and what his back history is. I can't spoil that because it comes at the very end. A wasted talent there, but that's the only minor thing that comes to my mind, because it wasn't bad. It was just not up to snuff.
Oh yeah, that's understandable. And hopefully they'll be able to do better writers for the fourth Star Trek movie in the Kelvin universe or whatever.
Yeah.
They thought. And Evan is asking, thoughts on Sulu being gay. For me, I don't care. it's like, okay, congratulations, you know, whether they did it for to George Takei or what, it's like,
He
okay,
himself said they did it for the wrong reasons because of that, because it was not the character, it was the actor that had that. But even that, they treated it very well. It was off scene, just a small hint, and done. And then say, what's the fuss all about? And you get over it. It's like I had with the trailer problems. It's a minor thing that you burst in, making out of proportions, and then in the end, it was nothing.
yeah. So I don't know. Um, so my movie, okay, B, or hold on, before I go to my movie. So B, would you recommend this for other people? How would you rate this?
I give it a 7.5 out of 10. That's a good one because I never give tens. And buy the DVD or Blu-ray. That's the link that is in the show notes. Be helpful to the GN Cast Network and provide us there with some money, please.
Bang, cheap pop. Sorry. All right, so my movie is one that is currently in theaters, and I believe said opening weekend made $32 million, of $9.75 of which was from yours truly, and that is Doctor Strange. Now, the spoiler-free review of this is movie in 3D. If you can, see it in IMAX 3D, see it, but at the very least, see it in a 3D theater where the brightness is changed, so you're not watching a an overly dark movie because, oh, and also don't take drugs before watching this movie because you will have on here. I don't take drugs and I'm like, I am tripping balls, man, throughout some of the scenes here. Um, so this depth review, you will be warned. There's spoilers here, so or there, you know, so you are warned. This movie, if you couldn't tell by the spoiler-free review, um, the I really enjoyed the actors. I enjoyed everyone who was in here. I did not have any qualms with Benedict Cumberbatch's American accent. I felt like it worked. I was that was one part I was, excuse me, a little worried on. The fact that he was in a movie 2 years ago where he was playing a guy from Boston, and I didn't see the movie, but I just saw the clip. I think the Daily Show. It's like either like the Daily Show or Graham Norton, and they played a clip, and I'm like, can you better? Like it was. I didn't like that accent, but this one I'm like, the fuck, he's British. Like I didn't know he wasn't. Like it was. I forgot that Benedict Cumberbatch was actually British. In this because it was that convincing to me. Um, there's a couple Easter eggs that were mentioned throughout the whole thing. Loved the most was and this is an origin story for Doctor Strange, but the one I loved the most was the Civil War tie-in. I can foreshadow thoughts. I'm like, we're gonna have a great little Easter egg where Tony Stark punches Doctor Strange. One of the case files was Rhodey that he was going through in his car while he's like, all right, next one, because it was like a 34-year-old military man. And I'm like, wait, what? Are you serious? Oh wow. It's like next, don't even care. Apparently there was also a Easter egg for Captain Marvel, which was neither confirmed nor denied, but I missed. But I like this movie. It was really great. It was really um like how they told the story, how they did the dichotomy here of the Doctor Strange as a doctor and having all these things, having this extensive watch collection, and living in this this big high-rise apartment in New York, very much like, he has money to the desperation of getting his hands back. And then you get to the him going to work with the Ancient One and learn how to do magic. But anyways, and we're back. Sorry about that problem there, folks. Like I was saying, the mirror dimension is seen in the trailers. It's wherever you see the New York going in 90 degrees, and how they did that. I really enjoyed that. Great fight scenes that screen, but they did it in such a way that you wouldn't. That I, for one, want to see how they did the green screening. Just to see like if they did layerings or what. But yeah, the visuals were stunning. I love the story. I love the two end credit scenes. The first one, but it's the one that Taika Waititi directed for, and it's a setup for Thor Ragnarok, and then the other one for a Thor sequel. And if you missed the second one, it's okay. Well, if it's okay if you are a comic book reader, because it doesn't surprise you, especially when getting recognition for, like, in the animated credits, actually a cameo. It made sense more after that second credit. I'm like, oh, that's why he got credit. And also, there was another little Easter egg that I will share of don't text and drive. They put that in the end credits, and I'm like, well, it makes sense, because essentially he was texting and driving while driving a really expensive Lamborghini, and then crashing it. And I'm like, oh no, the sadness, so much wreckage. But yeah, I would highly recommend you go see the movie. Have it in the winter movie draft, so I have no skin in that game of go watch it.
So let me be the Grinch here and give you 3 questions, but you can say if it's okay or not. Is the villain worth it? Is it a real villain that you love to hate? That has some real reasoning behind him?
Yes, I would say so. With the Caecilius, I believe it's how you say his name, the Mads Mikkelsen character. He's not a villain in the aspect of, in a way, where it's like, okay, he is doing this against he's a villain in that he's more of a villain in the aspect of Cobra Commander, doing these things for his own good, for what he thinks is his own good.
I had to think of Robert Chicken, sorry.
And even with Dormammu's a villain in there as well, and that's a great scene that I am not going to spoil. But I mean, I really enjoyed this. There's great fight sequences in there. The villain, I do think the villains were handled good. I don't think this is necessarily like how the movie sort of ended. I don't think we're going to see Caecilius again. Like, I could see them bringing back Dormammu, but I don't know. I like they've set up it with, with other villains that, again, if you read if you know the comics, you can tell who is going to be the next villain. And I think it was a very logical thing. It was not only an origin story, it was an origin story for all the characters here. It was an origin story for Wong. It was an origin story for for Mordo. It was an origin story for the Ancient One, for
there's the other part.
Dormammu.
There's other part that Marvel movies sometimes lack
All these people.
in the origin movies, that they have a slow burning start, and then they gather their power or go somewhere, and then they introduce the villain or the situation they have to resolve in a manner that it's then only dang, 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 action without real pause, so that you have a.
There's not really that though.
It's not, okay.
There's not really that. I mean, it's you start off with the villain. You start off with Mads Mikkelsen's character, and you're like, okay, this is the guy who's obviously the bad guy because he did bad things, and then you get Doctor Strange's origin, with him being the surgeon, like him getting, getting loans and trying to do all these different Western medicines to get his hand to repair his hands. Then going to Kathmandu to be trained by the Ancient One. See him learning, like just learning and learning and learning, and then comedy ensuing in that way. Especially once he is able to get to use magic, to use the sling ring, which is the goal. It's the thing where you see them, they go like this, ring on, and they open up a portal. And
fingering in the portal. That's a new term.
Okay, I've got to share this one part because there's a thing with Wong, because he's just called Wong. He's played by Benedict Wong. And Doctor Strange is like, so it's just one name. You don't have a last name. You don't have a first name. It's just Wong. It's like, yeah. So like, or Madonna or Beyonce. He doesn't react to any of this. And he's like, my people think I'm funny. I'd love to hear you tell a joke. Like there's that moment, and then they cut when Doctor Strange is trying to learn, and he's wanting to learn from these forbidden books, and it's behind Wong, who's listening to Beyonce, I believe he's listening to Single Ladies. And you just got like using the sling ring, hand come in, grab a book, pull it out. He's like, sort of deal. It's great comedy, great moments. I don't know. It's one of these with hearing Dan Harmon wrote some of the stuff for here. It's like, okay, did he write all the comedy parts, or like I have to imagine some of this was C. Robert Cargill and the other two writers that were involved with this.
Well, I plan to go see it anyway. Just thinking aloud what the usual weaknesses are, even of movies that I really really like Guardians of the Galaxy. But you have to recognize some things that Marvel repeatedly does, and that's the thing that they even waste female characters, that they don't write them really interestingly. Like I heard the love interest isn't really deep in this movie.
She's not the deepest. Like she does have some depth to her because she's his former love interest. But I'm trying to think like if she'd passed the Benchel test. I think she does, but she's not used a lot. It's I'm blanking on her name. Not Amy Adams, Rachel McAdams, her character. And I mean, it's not, she's not bad or anything like that. It's is what she is.
She's no chain like
here.
Thor. Isn't that bad?
Oh yeah, she's not.
No point.
Oh, help me! I'm the damsel in distress. And it's more Night Nurse than it's more Rosario Dawson in the Netflix series with all these.
Okay,
and which is great. I would prefer that over the Jane Foster of I'm smart. No, I need help by a hunky Australian as guardian. Sort of deal.
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok. That is Doctor Strange. That is currently in theaters. And that is it for Nerding Out.